into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers. We're here doing another AfterBuzz TV after show for MTV's Teen Wolf Season 5, Episode 7, Strange Frequencies. I'm your host, Kristen Snyder. Joining me, AfterBuzz TV host Courtney Tezeno.
Hello. Keep in touch with me at Teznos on Twitter and Instagram.
And from MTV's Are You the One and The Challenge, Brittany Baldassari.
Hey guys, what's up? You guys can follow me at Brittany Baldassari on all social media. Thank you, Kristen and Courtney.
And from Are You the One, Ryan Malaty.
Hi everybody, Ryan Malaty. Keep up with me everywhere at Ryan Malaty. Also, I'm sitting here on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV in the live chat, so jump on in there and talk to us.
Our special guest this evening is a writer on MTV's Teen Wolf. Please welcome Will Wallace.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Will, I am so excited that you could join us today.
Me too.
I know that you've been there from the beginning of Teen Wolf, so
Pretty
before
much.
we get into it, I just want you to give the fans a little bit of your story and background and your rise to the top on Teen Wolf.
Yes.
I got hired by Karen Gorodetsky and Joe Janier, two of our exec producers, way back on season 1 when they were doing some reshoots for season 1. And then they kept bringing me back, and then when the show moved out here permanently, I was the first person they hired, and I slowly moved into the writer's room, and now I'm getting to write scripts.
Look
That's
at you.
awesome. He really put in the time, too. I mean, you were, a PA when you started, then a writer's assistant, and now you're writing scripts on Teen Wolf, so it pays off. Climbing the ladder.
It
Yeah,
does, just
is
work
that the
hard.
dream?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
That is awesome. Well, I'm happy you could join us today and provide lots of spoilers for our fans at home.
I will try to not give away all the secrets.
I know.
Just throw us a few.
Definitely. And everybody, use the hashtag ABTVTeenWolf to let us know what you're thinking about this episode and what you thought about the episode from last night.
And if you want to call in and ask Will a question, hashtag spoiler, you can call us at 424-256-1729. Again, that's 242-256-1729.
Yes.
All right. Now let's talk about the episode, Strange Frequencies. Courtney, initial thoughts?
Initial thoughts, I don't know how to feel. There's so many emotions.
And frequencies.
Yes, it was a crazy episode, you guys.
Brittany, did you have a favorite part?
My favorite part, I think, was, hold on, let me check my notes. I liked towards the end when they were talking about Donovan, Tracy, and Lucas, and they were figuring out the different, the DNA, and how they're all connected, and the Dread Doctors, and why they chose them, and I thought that was really interesting, and started to tie the series together.
Yeah, we
Or the
kind of
season.
predicted that last week. People on the interwebs were kind of telling us that maybe they thought there was a transplant within all of them, and this tonight we kind of find out that it was skin grafts / they all got some sort of transplant from a chimera. Is that correct, Will?
Well, they are genetic chimeras, which are a real thing, and basically you become a genetic chimera if you get like some kind of transplant. And what that means is you now have 2 sets of DNA. So you have yours, and if you get a skin graft, well, that's not your skin, that's someone else. So there's DNA in that skin from someone else.
So does that mean you're like 2 people, like the Fox and Kira? These people are like themselves and a chimera.
Anything is possible.
Oh my gosh. Will would not give me anything after the episode. I was literally screaming like, who is this? What's happening? He's not giving us anything, but we're going to get something out of him today.
We'll see.
All the spoilers out of him. Bring out the Dread Doctor tools. Wow. We got our torture chair here at AfterBuzz. So let's talk about Theo and Stiles sort of hiding their secrets from Scott in the pack. Now, we know Stiles is afraid of losing his friendship with Scott, which I think is really sweet, but come on, Scott is not gonna, he's gonna understand that it was self-defense. And Theo, we learned a lot about him this episode, and I was like starting to be like, okay, maybe he just wants to be in the pack, like I like him. No, he watched his sister die.
He is a sick individual, as we thought before.
And he enjoyed it. Will, was that your idea in the writer's room?
No, that was not my idea. I'm not really sure where that came from, but there was a lot of talk of, like what exactly is Theo's backstory? How did all this come about? How did he become the young man that he is now? And slowly, as the season progresses, we'll start getting a little bit more pieces and putting all those pieces together.
Wow.
And it's gonna be fun.
Wow.
I don't know if I would say fun.
You realize
Making my heart kind of go.
Yeah, you're stressing me out. I need some therapy. You want to trade places? Can I be on the couch? I need to lay down, I think. Honestly, this episode was... it gave me anxiety, man. It was stressful. There's a lot going on.
A lot going on.
And I asked the chat what their most stressful moment was.
What did the chat have to say?
Oh, man. Honestly, everybody is just rest in peace Roscoe, the Jeep. And it's out of everything, right? The Jeep. But there was a lot of emotion tied to that car. But
there was. Do you think he's gonna patch it up with duct tape? I mean, maybe not his hand,
Kristen.
I mean, that Jeep. I feel like it can be fixed.
We'll see. He's put a lot of work into that Jeep, and it's now more duct tape than anything else. But I'm sure he can get it run again. We'll just have to see what happens.
I don't know if that survived the flames. I don't think so. The duct tape surviving that?
We can restore it with more duct tape.
All right, you know what? We're gonna have some hope for that car.
We have the technology.
Okay.
We'll take the Morel lawnmower and throw it in there. I'm sure we'll be fine.
Yeah, it's all right.
So we find out that Hayden is a chimera. And
Did anyone else see that coming?
I mean, I think that somebody here probably said that we knew she was something, but we didn't know exactly what she was. But she had those healing properties that we noticed early on, so we weren't exactly sure what she was. But
how about when Liam tells her he's a wolf and he shows her?
And she punches him in the face.
I mean, that was the ultimate revenge, right?
That was funny.
Punching him back
How
in
do you
sixth
guys?
grade.
How do you fit so much humor in such dark situations like that?
Well, it's always necessary to do that because with the show being Teen Wolf and some of the things we deal with monster-wise and story-wise, it can get very heavy really quickly.
Yeah.
And it's just always, we don't necessarily look for ways to inject humor, but it's just as we're breaking scenes and breaking certain stories, the jokes just form naturally. And we're like, oh, we should do this right here because it'll be funny. Because everything's about to get crazy, and so it's just little things like that where she punches him in the face, and we were trying to figure out, because they're running away, and it's like, how can he convince her that this is all real and he's not insane? And he's like, oh well, he probably just roars at her, and we're like, oh no, that's cool. And then someone, I don't remember who it was, but someone was like, and she probably punches him in the face because that would scare her, and we were like, done, start writing immediately, and that just went right into our map, and that was it.
I'm sure she enjoyed that scene.
Yeah, right.
Right.
I don't know if it's been answered, but the 6th grade thing, is that it's still a total mystery? Or?
No, we answered that last week. You must have been sleeping on the couch, right? What happened was... Oh, that's right, you were eating. Edie brought cookies.
Oh my God.
From Australia. And
very nice.
Ryan was eating all the cookies. He was in a food coma over there. So what happened was Liam accidentally, he had anger management issues in the 6th grade, and he was fighting, and she tried to stop it, and he ended up punching her in the face.
Yeah, she was in the crossfires.
Kind of,
Not
collateral
so
damage.
Instant karma, but eventually.
And she had a broken nose in the yearbook. And we all know those yearbook photos just don't go away.
Those things
don't go
sting
away.
years later.
Forever.
Yes.
I don't know about you guys. I had a yearbook burning party. I got rid of those things.
I
I'm all
don't
about
burn
the
mine.
future.
I hide them.
Well, pretty soon you're just gonna be able to pick your favorite Facebook profile pic and throw it to the yearbook
To the
committee.
yearbook group.
Probably.
Like virtual yearbooks. They don't have those yet? They need to get them.
They will.
Teen Wolf will have it.
Probably. Well, it's already on their phones, apparently. So there you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got access to some wicked cool technology, don't they?
They really do.
Beacon Hills is at the forefront of technology.
So what did you guys think about the plan tonight to use Hayden as bait? I mean, I know Liam didn't like that, and I feel like this was kind of out of character for Scott a little bit. I don't remember him ever doing this, but it does feel like this season he's feeling like he's not doing the best job that he can. He's very overwhelmed being senior year.
I think
yeah.
that's the perfect dynamic since he's a senior. That's the most stressful time of your life, really. Well, not really, but leading up to some of the most stressful moments of your life. So for him to be tackling all of that, I love that dynamic.
No, it's absolutely true. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and as we've seen so far in this season, Scott is more so than usual in over his head, and things are, and someone said, I think it was, we're losing, we don't even know what the game is, and it's just failure after failure after failure, and he's starting to unravel a little bit. It's like, how can I continue being the leader of this pack and a protector if I don't know what I'm fighting against and I don't know who to protect, because we are finding these chimeras just willy-nilly. As you saw at the end of the episode, Mason's like, hey, I've got one more, and he's like, oh God, oh no, so it's just one after the other, and it's this war that Scott's fighting, and he's losing.
And then even Love in Paradise, like, what kind of relationship does he have right now? He doesn't even know if he can trust her.
Yeah, there's just a lot going on, and it's a lot of people not talking to each other, and that's definitely a theme of the season, is just the secrets we keep and things like that, which is always a problem. I mean, it's and a lot of it comes from just fear, because he doesn't know how to handle the situation. And then with Kira, it's like, I don't know if I can trust her. And, if he just talked to her, who knows what would happen. But again, it's fear. What he's seen when she asked him to look at her, and he saw the fox just was massive on top of her, and all the things that they've seen where the fox is just coming out, and that's not something we've ever seen before. So something else is going on, and it's just, how do we handle this situation? And Scott is dealing with a lot of new things for the first time, and especially a lot of just defeat. Scott and the pack, they get licked a couple times every season, but they're being defeated. So it's just a lot going on, and it's going to take its toll on Scott, as it's already happening now.
Oh, yeah.
So communication, guys, is key. I honestly feel like every problem we have in society comes down to communicating, and people not communicating properly, and breaking up, and high school drama. It's just people not talking, or talking too much. Well, let's talk about...
Or just getting attacked by their mom in the middle of class.
Yeah, exactly. So
teaching her defense.
That was nuts.
Yeah, so Kira's parents come into the rescue. It seems like they were probably noticing a difference in her behavior as well.
Yeah.
And what is that, the acupuncture that they're trying to use to redistribute the power to the human rather than the fox? But
that backfires.
Seem to work. And she leaves 1:15.
That's what I want to know.
Bed.
What is that? What does that symbolize?
On the bed, what does that mean? I wrote that down, actually. I'm like,
I thought it was a classroom number.
Maybe
Good guess.
a room number in
Melissa McCall's kitchen.
That scene, you guys, I freaked. Who is it? Who is that?
Tell us, William.
He wouldn't tell me.
He wouldn't tell me.
But I will say about the shooting of that scene, the writer's room, because we're all in just a warehouse in Northridge. So our writer's room, you go out a door and you're immediately on the hospital set.
Oh,
and then you walk out the emergency room entrance and you're on our stage, and right there is the Scott McCall house. So when they were shooting that scene for, I don't remember how long it was going on, but every few minutes you would just hear this nerve-wracking scream echoing across the stages, and that was her doing that scene. Yeah, it was Melissa McCall doing that scene, and it was tough to listen to, because Melissa Ponzio is such a wonderful actress. I mean, she doesn't phone anything in. It's like, okay, I'm in it, I am there 100%, and she just went for it every single time, and it's blood, it's blood curdling while we were shooting, and then watching the episode, it's even worse because, I mean, she's seen a lot, obviously, on the show, but it's never been at home.
Right.
This is the first time.
That's a new level.
Yeah, this is something else. So.
And with Kira's sword.
Exactly, the missing sword.
And her.
Well, do you guys think, I mean, we almost saw Kira kill her mom. Mm-hmm. So do you guys think that her sword was stolen and this is a setup, or do you guys think that the fox took hold of Kira and committed this murder?
I definitely think that that's Kira. I think she's a little out of control, and she doesn't know that this is happening to her. Mm-hmm. But what do you think, Ryan?
Well, I mean, you get that blood pumping, and the animal instinct starts taking over. So, I mean, it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, her
mother was, like, encouraging it to come out, though. That's that's the vibe that I got.
I saw it as, like, a training exercise.
Yeah, she was training her.
They probably have gone through this before, but she's really trying to pull this fox out of her. And what a foxy fight, can I just say?
Yeah! What a bonding moment, right?
Yeah, right? Fight
quality mother-daughter time, as
quality.
Kira says.
Absolutely.
Well,
but, I was even more curious as to when she almost killed Scott. at the end?
Yeah,
Were those
he was-
hallucinations?
Right, those were hallucinations. Everyone went into a hallucination of sort of like what their worst fear, I guess, was at the time. Their fears crept in, and he said recently he didn't think he could trust Kira, and so I think that was in the back of his head, and that came through in the hallucination.
Yeah.
So the doctors are bringing their
They
fears,
shouldn't have
their
read the book.
Their nightmares. Speaking of the book, maybe the 115.
It's a page
There's
number.
a page number. Stephanie Golding says, Ryan, ask him so we can watch his face.
We
Was
see his
it page 115?
I don't know.
No, you guys, it's page 115. Yes.
I think he has a
give her
copy of the
shout-out.
book with him.
Oh boy. No.
Did you write the book?
I actually did write the book. The pages you see in the book, I wrote 3 or 4 chapters of just what that book would be.
Wow.
And yeah, so if like you freeze frame, it's a story. You
Is that,
see what
can
it
that be
is.
found anywhere?
So cool.
Can people go find it?
Not at the moment. I don't know if anything like that would
guys
happen,
really
but just
should
freeze frame
publish
and you'll
that.
see it.
Okay.
No.
You should get Jeff's approval for after the season is over to actually publish it
Publish a
because
copy?
you
It would be
know
fun.
we would buy it.
It would. Oh no, people would buy it.
Yeah.
And then we would have
Hallucinations.
Hallucinations.
and recovered memories of.
I'm gonna let you guys
Maybe
give
I'll
me
let
a
you guys read it.
synopsis
Yeah,
of what
could you
happened.
just tell me what happened.
Courtney's
yeah.
like, I'm not reading it.
I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna
Well, what
listen.
did you do, Will, to prepare to write that book? I mean, did you do some research, some ideas?
What did I do? Well,
Is
we
it just your journal, really?
yes, it is my dream journal. I changed some names and I threw the Dread Doctors in, and I was like, "Here you go, guys." And Jeff was like, "Oh, this is brilliant." No, really research. No, it was just having fun with it. You know, because really, the story and what's happening in our season are just similar enough, you know, where it's like something weird is happening in this East Coast town and the Dread Doctors are there doing things, you know, and so basically I just took that idea and just wrote a chapter for the beginning of the story, a middle of the story, and the end of the story, and I just had fun with it, and Eric Wallace, our producer, I would write a draft of the chapter, give it to him, he'd give me some notes, and I would rewrite, and he'd be like, "Oh, perfect," and we would give it to Kat, our props, our props lead, and they would go off and make a book out of it. And
That's
that was
so
it.
cool.
It was a lot of fun. It was just a lot of fun.
Well, you're officially a novelist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Officially, I guess.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
You're right. You're
Yes.
like right. It's like writing within writing.
Exactly. It's very meta. Yes.
Not that very meta. I love that.
Well, let's talk about Corey being a chimera and how Mason is really becoming an important part of the pack. I feel like he's becoming a sort of Stiles figure
Yes.
from the past now that he is sort of the new character and all he can really do is research. He's doing a great job, though. He's helped Kira, and I feel like he's really going to be the one who pulls things together for the pack because everybody else is busy fighting. So we need somebody who's reading and trying to find the facts. What do you guys think?
I definitely agree, and I think right now Stiles is not on his A game anymore because he has so much guilt that he's harboring.
Right.
So this is the perfect character to put in as that person.
Yeah, I feel like Mason is nice and level-headed, and he can help bring people back together. He's nice and level-headed. Nothing crazy
No
has
one's
gone on with him
chasing
yet.
him at this moment.
Yeah, nothing crazy is going on.
he has
with
time
him.
No one knows that he's a part of the pack yet,
Yeah,
so
that's
they have
true.
no reason to really chase.
That's
Right.
very true. Mason is a wonderful character because it's always interesting how new characters are brought into the fold and told the information. Like Sheriff Stilinski was just like, I don't know how to wrap my head around this. So Stiles has to do the chessboard, and of course when Melissa found out, it was just heartbreaking in season 2 when she sees her son wolfed out, and it was and then with Mason, he's just so into this stuff already, so that when he found out, he's just like, this is the greatest day of my life, and he's just got such enthusiasm. But at the same time, as he's now slowly becoming a member of the pack, he is discovering that it's not all fun and games. Like, this isn't how it works, that like if you're in this, you are in this to the end, and he, we'll be seeing more from him, and he's just a really good character. Kylan Rambo, who plays Mason, is just the best and so much fun to work with, and he always brings it all the time. But he also, it's just that energy he brings, and a lot of that is just for the character of someone who is just so invested in his friends and learning about them and wanting to just be able to help. So we'll be seeing more from Mason.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
I was excited to see Stilinski asking Melissa for the key card.
Yep.
I'm excited because obviously that's beginning them working together, and Lyndon Ashby is coming back next week with Susan. So they're going to be in studio with
Very
us. Hopefully
nice.
they can lay it down for us and let us know that romance is in the air. I don't know.
Oh, it is. It has to be.
It was a lot of fun when we had the idea that I don't remember how it came up, but that Stilinski had taken off his wedding ring because it's been years since Claudia passed away, and then we were like, okay, well, if that's happened, we need to go on a date. You know, and then of course the first thing we thought was, oh, okay, well, his wife is on the show. Let's just have them go out on a real date, you know, and that was just a lot of fun because you know you would be expecting Melissa to be the one, and then it's Natalie, and but there could still be hope for Melissa and Stilinski shippers, who I happen to be one of.
Good.
I love them. I love them so much, but we'll just have to see what happens. They just have this great sort of flirty attitude together, and you look at them, especially in that key card scene where she's like, they're going to take away this key card that lets me into the file room. Would you like to see how it works? And he's like, yes, ma'am. And it's just like, this couldn't be more adorable.
Yes.
So yeah,
He's like, I'll meet you in the background.
Hashtag Malinsky.
yes, Malinsky.
You know, I gotta say, I'm really loving the depth of storylines that you're giving the adult characters in this season. You got all the drama that the teens go through, but since they're getting a double dose of drama, we get a little bit of backstory and more of the real relationship that you see, I guess, in real life. Because kids always have to deal with their parents, and now we're seeing parents dealing with each other.
That's right.
I mean, is it different writing, stories for, the younger crowd to get into adventures versus the older ones?
We don't really look at it like that because we're a very different high school show where we don't really deal with high school problems because we've got monsters that we have to deal with. So, it's hard to be like, oh, I didn't get a good grade on the math test. Oh, monster. So we don't really think about it as adult stories and kid stories. We just write stories for the characters, and that's just the best way for us to approach it. So that, because there's really not much of a divide between our adult characters and our teenage characters, because they're very close. They all love each other. They're all one big team. So it's not like on a lot of high school shows we've got the adult characters who just don't get the kids. And the kids who just the stuffy parents. And we just don't really deal with that. So it's just we just write stories for all of them to take part in.
Well, we love how you do that.
Yes, Teen Wolf is all about life lessons. I love that.
Teen Wolf
regardless
and
of what
Adult
age.
Wolf.
Adult Wolf.
Yes.
I cannot wait any longer. I have to talk about Parish
Please,
and that dream hallucination with Lydia.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Oh, making out in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Truly steamy.
That was tough.
I can't read that.
You gonna call?
I think it's time for Mazda.
Yes.
Well, we did have a few people saying on the live chat that they were trying to call in, so we're gonna go ahead and figure that out. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor, because this show is free to watch on iTunes and YouTube, and the way it stays free is with sponsors like Mazda. So, does driving matter to you? There's over 4 million miles of road in the U.S. to find out. And that's a lot of ground to cover. A lot of highways, freeways, wrong ways, long ways, they're all there, waiting to be driven on. So do you take that left turn at Albuquerque, or just keep on going? Do you wake up early Sunday morning for a drive before the traffic does? Or do you take the long, winding road home for a change? If driving matters to you, just get out and drive. Why? Because driving matters. Mazda. Zoom, zoom.
Well, we know driving matters to Stiles, so I really hope to see Roscoe in the future.
Actually, I do want to give out a little personal shout out to Mazda. I was actually, hit by a truck last week in my
While driving a Mazda.
and I walked away. So I gotta say that
That's awesome.
I own a Mazda as well.
you know what?
Durable cars.
You can feel safe.
To Mazda!
To Mazda!
And
now we have a call.
Yes.
All right.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
And how much do you love Mazda?
Hello, caller, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, it's Natasha from Quebec, Canada.
Hi, Natasha.
Do you have a question for the writer of Teen Wolf? Will Wallace is in studio with us.
Yes, I wanted to ask a question.
Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So it doesn't have to do with the 5th season, but I was wondering if, Will, if you knew, like, how long did it take to Deaton to realize that Scott was a werewolf? Is that something that you knew in the writer's room that we never got to know?
Well, that I cannot speak to because I was not a part of the writer's room for season 1 and those early goings, but for the character Deaton, I would say my headcanon on it is because of Deaton's history with the Hale family and all of that I think once Scott was bitten, he started to notice something immediately because I'm very confident that Deaton had seen these types of things before, right. Born wolves coming into it naturally, or other people being bitten by stray alphas or things like that. So I'm sure he noticed pretty early on what was going on. But of course, being Deaton, he keeps everything close to the vest and doesn't really reveal anything until it's time. So.
Right.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in.
Natasha.
All right, guys, if you have a question at home, you can feel free to call us at 424-256-1729. So let's get back to Parish and Lydia.
Yeah.
Because that was crazy.
And creepy.
That was for sure hallucination.
Yeah,
right?
but it's like I also feel like it has to do. His face is looking a little like.
It was a hallucination because Lydia had a hallucination too.
Yeah, I know, but
she was
remember
getting
like
her
that
tongue ripped
card.
out.
Yeah, but remember the card?
Tracy?
I feel like he finds those a lot. Can you tell us anything about that, Will?
Not specifically to the cards, but they were hallucinations. Like we saw when the Dread Doctors arrive and the pathologist arrives. He was able to send out a frequency from his glove that went through the speakers and through the radio that just started affecting everybody. And like you saw, it was all their fears. And we've seen Parish talk about his fears with Lydia before, about his dreams that he hasn't really been completely honest about, but we've seen the dream and we know what he's up to, even if our characters don't know quite yet. So clearly it seems like his fear is hurting Lydia in some type of way. And since, of course, he is some kind of fire monster, he's worried about, burning her and burning other people. And so that was crazy.
When he makes out with Lydia, he may burn her.
It gets very hot, as you saw in the scene. Lots of clothes being ripped off, all,
Super steamy.
But yeah, she took her hand and like put it down his chest and slowly could see like the burn marks.
That was
like
awesome.
so hot.
I mean,
hot and creepy at the same time.
It was hot.
Hot.
They've made out a lot without really making out for real, but in dreams.
When are we going to see that?
I know. You know what's going to
keep
happen.
watching.
So, can you fill us in a little bit on what Parish is doing, though? Yes, we think he's the Phoenix because that's just going around for a while now. But can you tell us? So he's taking these bodies to the Nematon. Are they being reborn? Are they part of his army? Are they feeding the spirits of the Nematon to keep peace? What's happening, Will?
Which of those theories do you like? And we will go with that one.
Well, let's ask our caller.
Okay.
Caller, what's your name? Where are you from? Hello? What's your name? Where are you from, caller?
Hi, I'm Meredith from Connecticut.
Hi, Meredith.
East Coast. Woo!
Yeah. Do you have a question for Will Wallace? He's one of the writers, and he's in studio with us today.
Yeah, I do. My question is, a while back on social media, this has to do with Stiles' Jeep, people were saying that he's so attached to it because it's Claudia's Jeep. Is there any truth to that?
I cannot say yes or no to that because I don't remember. So, but let me just jump in. I don't remember that being a thing, but that would be awesome and wonderful. But I cannot say with 100% confidence that that is true.
Yeah, that sounds like a cool fan theory.
Yeah.
That would make sense, which is why he's trying to preserve it as long as possible.
No, that's absolutely wonderful, and that would, if that is the case, I mean, that just you completely understand immediately why he's always putting the Jeep back together and he can't
Definitely.
lose it. So because it would be sort of the last thing that he has of his mother, and that would just be wonderful and awesome. And if it's not that way, maybe we should just steal it and do
Yeah,
that.
do that.
I don't know.
Meredith, do that, Will.
Meredith, get your writer's credit.
Thanks so much for calling in, Meredith.
Bye.
Thank you.
That's a great
Yeah,
question.
thank you.
Awesome question. Okay, so let's talk about how we're gonna fight these Dread Doctors, because they're operating at a frequency we don't even know.
You know what? I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
An apple a day.
Keeps the
the
Dread
doctor
Doctors away.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm out.
Clever.
No, this is cheese fest every time.
Wow, we have another caller. Maybe they have an idea how we can fight the Dread Doctors.
I love you,
Caller,
Ryan.
I love you too.
what's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Sharwin. I'm from Tennessee.
Hello.
And thanks for calling in, Sharwin. Do you have a question for Will Wallace, writer on MTV's Teen Wolf, in studio with us?
Well, I know I have a question for him. It's more for the entire panel, I guess. As I look back at this season and try to figure out all the craziness and the chaos, I was thinking back to some of the, I guess, opening credits from past seasons where Lydia, you see, I think it's in season 3, you see all the hands that are coming up from the earth. So I didn't know if that had something to do with all these different chimeras that were being reborn. And also I think it was a preview of Scott where he was fighting his reflection and having to figure out if he was a good alpha or a bad alpha. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm just kind of wondering if those things are all going to play into this season or not.
I feel like we should let Will
really
Will fly with
good.
these, because I don't know, but those would be awesome theories if they were true, Sharwin. Will, what's your comment on that?
Well, there's definitely something to be said about who are we and who is inside, and are we the same person inside as we are out? And that's definitely something to keep in mind, always throughout our show. I mean, that's definitely, as you saw in 3A when, Scott's running up the stairs and the alpha shadow is following him, I mean, that's always been one of his greatest fears, is that because Peter bit him and we've seen only the worst of Peter, it's like, is that me? Has that been passed on to me? Is that what I'm going to be? And then, and it could be the same thing with Kira now, where it's this thing inside of her, the fox spirit, the kitsune, is coming out, and it's not very happy, So is it like, is this me? Is this destiny? Is this all I can be? And we'll just have to keep watching and see what happens with that.
What about the hands coming out of the earth?
Yeah,
that
I
Sharwin
really love
mentioned?
that.
That's
No,
really
that
cool.
was wonderful and awesome. That isn't any kind of Easter egg. That was just a fun thing we got to do on our stage one day, and actually a whole bunch of the people from up in the production office, they can point out their hands, like Mary Shabilsky, who works with us, that's one of her hands coming up, and
That's funny.
And yeah, but there is always, since 3B, I think there's always been some kind of clue to what is happening in the season, because like in 3B you got the Oni mask before we even revealed them, so you didn't know what you were seeing at the time. And the same could be said with our opening credits right now, is that maybe you're seeing something you don't understand yet, and at the end of the season, at the end of all of 5, you might be like, oh my god, it was there the whole time. So
Well, pay attention to those
Monsters.
credits for season 5, Sharwin, and thanks so much for calling in. Those were great questions.
Very
Thank
good.
you very
Thank you
much.
so
All right.
much.
All right. Thank you all. All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. I really love the callers tonight.
Yeah.
Very good.
Everyone's on top of their game.
On point.
It looks like we have another one.
caller.
Another caller.
Caller, what's your name? Where
We're trying
are
to
you
get the
from?
secrets.
My name is Anna. I'm from Kansas.
Hello.
Hi.
Do you have a question for Will Wallace?
Yes, my question is, if we could go back to that number, the 115, because the way I saw it yesterday on the episode, I was like wondering if instead of it being, because a lot of people are saying it could be a road or it could be the page number from the book, but it kind of looks Japanese kanji-ish to me.
Ooh.
I was like wondering if it's like something like that.
You might have
I
cracked
mean,
the code.
it's
It
a
does.
Japanese kitsune, so
That 5 is very familiar. That is something we saw. The backwards 5 was very important in 3B. So anything is possible. Those are all great theories.
I really agree with that one, actually, because she doesn't even know that she can speak Japanese. So to be able to do that, that may have been unconscious as well.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I like that. Any ideas how we can fight the Dread Doctors?
God only knows. That I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on there myself.
Right.
Well, thanks so much for calling in. And we really appreciate your support and watching the show. And thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. Please watch the
No
show.
problem.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
All right, guys. So before we get into our interview with you, Will, I want to just talk about how Theo is apparently the Dread Doctors are supposed to tell him everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, it seems like I don't know what's going on, but that he is like the leader in this, or is he an experiment? Is he a chimera? Like, is he the lead experiment that's supposed to do something in the end? Like, what do you guys think here?
How does he even understand what they're saying? They just like mumble. They sound like Bane. They're like, stop.
Okay.
I was born in the dark.
I'm like, how do you understand, Theo? It takes a special talent to understand what the Dread Doctors are saying.
Okay.
Creepy though.
That's why he's the only person who works with him. Everyone else is like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
He got that special skill on his resume.
Right.
Exactly.
I can speak Dread Doctor.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't think he's an experiment. I think that he thinks that he's working with the Dread Doctors, but because they're hiding that information from him, I think at the end they could turn on him at some point.
Right.
So Theo, I feel like, is going to continue to be that lone wolf that is pretty much angry that he doesn't have a pack. So that's my prediction. What about you, Kristen?
I mean, he's kind of psycho at this point. The fact that I got to see him like watch his sister die and not help her.
Yeah.
That was the last thread for me. Like, I don't think that he's gonna be okay. Like, I don't think we can save him. Like, I thought that Scott would in the end save him somehow and turn him into a part of the pack, but after watching someone enjoy their sister dying, I don't really think that you can come back from that. I don't know that we can fix that. I don't know that Scott can fix that. I don't know that you can fix that, Will.
Well, I can't say to that yet because we are just now writing the second half of this season, which is awesome so far. But and that's always definitely something we've been talking about with Scott. Is like each season he kind of has a new type of villain to deal with, and that's something that's come up in the room is can everyone be saved? Because that's always his thing. Is we save everyone, and that's just a question of, is that possible? And so we'll just have to keep seeing what happens with Scott on that journey and see what happens. But Theo is clearly a bad apple and is in no way a good guy. He's very bad.
Terrible.
So.
Liam had brought up an interesting point. He said to Scott, are you going to do everything in your power to save Hayden? So in my eyes, that meant, will you kill for her? Because we haven't seen him kill, so...
No, we have not.
Do you guys think that he would kill?
Pressure. I don't know if he's going to go that far, to be honest. I know Liam really wants her to stay alive because you can tell that he really loves her or cares about her. Is that just me?
Yeah, no, I see it.
Okay. Well, I definitely think that that's why he's more adamant about him saving him, but I don't know if he's going to take one for the team just yet.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I know, Brittany. I saw you. Go for it. Well, I was just going to say, I mean, after listening to the conversation between Theo and Stiles, the whole talk of justifiable homicide, self-defense, I mean, when we use the word killing, it's so raw, you go out and kill somebody, but I feel like if put into a situation where you're backed into a corner and you have to defend yourself, I think that Scott is going to eventually have to do everything in his power to protect himself and his family.
I'm still stuck on the fact that I only think Scott's going to kill if it has something to do with Stiles. That is my biggest thing. I don't think he would ever
Not
let
even
anything...
Kara either?
His mother or Stiles. But those are the two that I'm like, he would kill for them. I don't know about anyone else.
I just feel like at that point, if Scott does kill this season, that's when Stiles will be like, okay, man, I did it too. All right, we're in this together. We did it. I did too, and it felt good.
Killed the guy and I liked it.
Did you guys feel like Theo was recording that conversation? That's how I felt, because he was like, Stiles, how did it feel when you killed that guy? And he's like, good. And
Oh, yeah, he's
Theo was
blackmailing.
like, yep, I got that.
Well, that scene was very important because that is something to talk about where, that our characters are talking about something that people have been talking about for years is we've always had, if you kill an innocent person, your eyes turn blue. And then Theo's like, well, what does innocent mean? Like, I was protecting myself and my eyes aren't blue, so what does that mean? Does that mean that the chimera I killed wasn't innocent? And then Stiles was like, well, maybe you just don't feel bad about it. And he's like, well, maybe I don't. But it's just like what is innocent and what is killing? Because you're right. I mean, it's justifiable homicide versus murder. So we are definitely getting into the gray area of how do we tread lightly in these situations of death. And we'll just have to see what happens.
One other thing. I'm sorry, I'm like so excited, you guys. Okay, so in that scene, I really felt like him asking Stiles if it felt good was to see how far would Stiles go, because Theo has that same nature where he has a manipulative nature. So I feel like he has those eyes because he technically has never killed anyone, but he has used people to kill others. So I feel like he's saying, okay, let's see what Stiles is up to. Can I use him at some point? So I don't know. Did anybody else get that from that scene?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he feels good when people die. He seemed like he was enjoying himself on that bridge watching his sister die, and that was super creepy. So, I mean, I
You're
understand.
pretty traumatized by that.
Yeah,
But no, it is traumatizing.
Yeah.
I mean, are you guys confused at all while Stiles said it felt good? I mean, I was kind of shocked by that. I understand. The only part I can understand is that guy was after him and his father. So, I don't know. I think maybe his word should have been relieved. Something else.
Yeah.
Well, a little clarity. He didn't say it felt good.
Okay.
He said, what were you thinking? What was going through your head? And I thought, good, that he's dead. And you're right, because he was saying, I'm going to kill you, kill your dad, and it's like, and Stiles is like, I saved my father's life, and I saved my life, and clearly Donovan wasn't a great guy, a lot of anger issues, and was willing to now that he had this newfound power to exact this vengeance that he believes is his, sort of not birthright, but his right to exact, because we learned that Stilinski's old partner was his father, and he was injured in the line of duty and became paralyzed because of it. So. It's fun getting into Stiles' headspace, and figuring out. And then when he says good, it's not like, oh, I'm so happy I got to murder somebody, because that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But it's like it could be interpreted. It felt good. I thought good because I stopped someone who was trying to hurt me and other people.
Right.
Okay.
And
We just needed more words there, so I feel like if he did record that, it's gonna look bad.
Oh,
that's very possible.
Instead of good. Anyway,
Never
before
trust
we
Theo.
run out of time, I want to learn about Will Wallace.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Freedom! I'm sorry, I haven't
That
that in.
is literally all you need to know.
Has been holding that in.
I've been like just bursting with the Braveheart reference.
You know what? Will thought that his Twitter might be not Braveheart because that's his Facebook.
That's my Facebook.
This is not
But
Not
if you
Braveheart.
Facebook.com/not Braveheart.
Not Braveheart.
If you do want to follow Will Wallace, it's at Mr. Blue795 on Twitter. That's at Mr. Blue795.
Yep.
And so I want to know, what maybe specifically from your childhood brought you out here to the industry, made you want to become a writer? Do you remember writing as a kid?
I know the exact moment. My dad took me to see Star Wars on the big screen. They were doing the re-release of the special editions, and I'd grown up watching those films. I wore out dozens of tapes watching it, but I'd never seen it on the big screen. And then my dad took me, and I just remember the shots where all the I'm going to get really deep. I'm going to get really geeky here. It's when all the X-wings are coming right by the camera as they're going towards the Death Star, and I was just like, I remember turning to my dad and grabbing his arm and said, "That's what I'm going to do. I want to do this." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I know." As if this was like he had known always. And then that was in the 8th grade, and from that moment on, it was writing. That was it for me, and I went to school for writing, and I came out here, and almost 9 years later, here I am.
That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yeah, it's magical.
Well, can you tell us about a magical moment in the writer's room?
Yes, a magical moment in the writer's room. This is very selfish on my part, but no, it was in season 4. We were working on something, and and Jeff just out of nowhere said, "Oh, well, you're gonna write an episode next season." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that's great." And then in season 5, I was gonna write episode 6, but then we breaking that episode ended up being tough, and it looked like I wasn't gonna get to write one. And then a couple episodes later, it was just Jeff just out of nowhere. It's just like, "Oh yeah, this one's yours." It's for him, it's just like, oh, this is no big thing, and I'm like inside, I'm like just dying and explowing, and I'm like, and I'm going over the list of all the people I need to text and call and all this, and then, but of course on the outside, I'm like, oh yeah, it's fine, yeah, sure, whatever.
How do you get?
Yeah.
Like, how do you get into the creative mindset to write an episode, and how long does it take to write an episode?
Well, the great thing about the way Jeff runs the writer's room is it takes about 2 weeks for us to break each episode and write an outline all together. Cool. And that's really where the majority of the creativity comes out, because we all do it together. And of course, each script has one writer's name on it because we get to go off and write that script. But really, we all just collaborate and get to break the story and really get in there with the characters and figure out what they want and what they need and what they're going through for that particular episode. And that's really where the majority of our creativity gets to come out, because by the end of those 2 weeks, we've got like a 15 or 16 page outline, and it's very detailed, and you can just copy and paste that right in the final draft, and that's about 35 pages, and then and of course we go in and we rewrite and massage the scenes, and sometimes we go in and write a scene and realize, this wasn't right, and we figure it out, and then Jeff will do his pass, and then it goes right in front of the camera. So we really don't have a lot of time to do it, but it's just the greatest job in the world.
No, it sounds intense, man.
It is very intense, especially when, like I said, the sets are right outside the door. Like, you walk through the door and you're in the hospital reception area, and they're shooting in there all the time, and it's just, you cannot rest on your laurels, because it's like, oh, that's right, they're shooting the episode, and we have like 3 weeks to write the one they shoot next. Because by the end of the season, we're right up against it, and we can't stop. You can't just be like, we can't do this today, we need to finish it. Say, nope, you don't get to do that, because there is so much money on the line, and there are air dates already set, and it's just, you got to move, and that's just television, but it's, again, the greatest job in the world.
Now, I want to know, I know you guys bounce ideas off each other in the writer's room, but is there anybody that you're close to, relatives, or people that throw ideas at you, you're like, oh, that's actually a good idea, and I won't give them their credit, but...
We get ideas from all over the place. Sometimes we're able to pass those on, sometimes not. It just depends, but we really try and keep it just in the writer's room, and to keep things just right there, because that can spiral out of control very easily, and then and also, but also because it's like we can't give everyone credit for the ideas. That's just, like I said, there are like 6 of us sitting at the table, and all of us are writing that outline, but only one person gets the credit. That's just, the way it works and all of that. But my mom, because I got my mom on the show, and she loves the show, and so every now and then she'll be watching episodes, and she'll shoot me a text and be like, I think this is what's happening, or what if you do this, and I'm like, oh yeah. It's like, yeah, well, yeah, no, this is a great idea. I love the Loch Ness Monster. This makes complete sense, and things like that, Parents. So yeah, exactly. And but I mean, we're always getting ideas, because there are so many fans of this show, so it's kind of impossible not to get pitched ideas and stuff like that. And a lot of people have really good ideas out there, and it's like, I wish we had thought of that. But
That's awesome. Well, we are officially out of time. No. I know, but we're so thankful to have you in studio. And is there anything else? I know all your time goes in Teen Wolf. I know that. But is there any side projects, any little writing projects, or anything else you're working on?
I'm writing for myself all the time. I'm working on a new pilot, and a friend of mine, a friend and I are trying to co-write a feature together. So it's just always doing something, But
that's awesome. Yeah. Well, where can the fans keep up with you on Twitter? I know you don't use it, but today we're making you.
At Mr. Baloo 795, you can see all of my tweets from 3 years ago, and it's wonderful.
Facebook.com/NotBraveheart.
Yes,
we love that. That's awesome. I'm Kristen Elizabeth Snyder. You can follow me at Cinematic Escape.
And I'm Courtney Tezeno. Keep in touch with me at Teznos on Twitter and Instagram. I want to know what you guys think. Use the hashtag ABTV Teen Wolf.
And I'm Brittany Baldassari. You guys can check me out on all social media. Whoop, whoop.
And I'm Ryan Malaty. You can follow me at Ryan Malaty everywhere. Big shout out to the fans tonight. You guys were awesome. The callers were great.
Yes.
The fans in the chat room were great. You guys are the best fans ever. Keep chatting. Give us a comment on YouTube. Shoot us a tweet on Twitter.
Tweet us.
We'll be keeping an eye out.
And
Thank
you can also tweet Will questions, because obviously he knows better than we do.
Yes. I will be checking my Twitter from now on, since it's now out there in the world. So,
He's back active, you guys.
Yes, thanks to you guys at home. So follow him, tweet him the questions he knows. Thanks so much, Will, for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
This is such a pleasure having you in studio.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And you guys, make sure you tune in Tuesdays at 7. We have a special guest every week. Can't wait to talk to you guys about Teen Wolf next week.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.